In today's video, we're going to be discussing Team Sweden's roster for the upcoming 2018 Winter Olympics. And that's coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. On this channel, we review and analyze all 31 NHL teams as well as international tournaments with an unbiased opinion. So if you're a huge hockey fan, consider hitting that subscribe button now so you don't miss anything. So Team Sweden's finally released their full roster for the 2018 Winter Olympics coming up. So I thought we should take a look and discuss and compare to Team Canada and Team USA, since we've already done preview videos for those teams. So Team Sweden, actually they have a couple of spots they left open, so they still can add one or two players to the roster before the Winter Olympic Games begin. I believe there are mainly forward positions that are open now. So let's take a look at the roster and see how things look. Obviously in goal we've got Jonas Enroth, Viktor Fasth, and Magnus Hellberg. So obviously Enroth and Fasth both have NHL experience. If you remember, Jonas Enroth mostly from the Buffalo Sabres, while Viktor Fasth played with the Edmonton Oilers as well as the Anaheim Ducks. So some decent selections there in goal. They've named 8 defensemen so far, headlined by the 2018 projected first overall pick, Rasmus Dahlin. So we just had a treat to watch this young superstar at the 2018 World Junior Tournament, and now he's going to be an Olympian, all before he's ever drafted into the NHL. Obviously, from what we saw in the World Juniors, it certainly looks like he really cemented his spot as the top pick in the 2018 entry draft coming up this summer. So Rasmus Dahlin is going to be huge for Team Sweden. Considering the NHL players won't be participating, I do fully expect some of the European countries might have a little bit of an advantage because they do have a lot of homegrown talent that still plays over in their home countries or in the KHL or the different leagues over in Europe, so they might have a better selection of players to pick from. Rasmus Dahlin, who's not in the NHL yet, is going to headline this team and be a huge star at the Winter Olympics. So now also on defense we have Michael Wickstrand, who's an Ottawa Senators prospect. Although unlikely to ever play with the Senators, he was invited. They wanted him to come over and play in North America. He was going to most likely play in their AHL farm team, but opted to go back to Sweden and play at home. I know at one point it was discussed that it was due to a family matter, but that's never changed, so I'm guessing it's more of a preference. Maybe he doesn't want to play in the minors. I'm not sure what it is. It looks like Wickstrand most likely won't be joining the Ottawa Senators anytime soon, but he's certainly going to be a big part of Team Sweden here at the upcoming Olympics. They've also got Stefan Kronwall, who had played in the NHL for a while. He played with the Leafs, Flames, and Capitals, so he's got a fair bit of experience. Also on defense, we've got Patrick Hersley, who's a Kings draft pick but never played in the NHL. Johan Franzen, so not the Johan Franzen from the Red Wings. He was a Dallas Stars draft pick but never played in the NHL. Simon Bertilsson was a Flyers pick, but once again never played. Eric Gustafsson was a Flyers draft pick as well. He did play bits and pieces of 3 or 4 years, going back and forth between the Flyers and their American Hockey League affiliate. Then since then has gone back to Europe. And Jonas Enroth. So I do apologize if I've mispronounced any of these names. Obviously, some of them I'm familiar with and some of them I'm not as familiar with. So if I've mispronounced any names, I do apologize. But that's Team Sweden's defense. So obviously Rasmus Dahlin is the headline there. He's probably going to be one of the biggest stars of these Olympic Games. Up front, you've got Captain Joel Lundqvist. Obviously, Joel Lundqvist is a well-known player in his own right. He played for the Dallas Stars for a while. Obviously, he's a good leader for Team Sweden, but he's the twin brother of Rangers superstar goaltender Henrik Lundqvist. So yes, in case you weren't aware, the King has a twin brother. His name is Joel, and he's going to be Team Sweden's captain at this year's Olympics. Also up front, we've got Viktor Stalberg, who has a fair bit of NHL experience, played with a variety of teams, including most recently the Ottawa Senators, Chicago Blackhawks, Carolina Hurricanes, New York Rangers, and the Nashville Predators as well. So Stalberg, pretty solid player overall, pretty quick, decent scoring touch. So Stalberg's going to be on Team Sweden. We've got Carl Klingberg, who saw some limited time with the Winnipeg Jets organization, didn't play a whole lot, but certainly From what I can see, a pretty solid forward up front. You got Anton Lander. Oilers fans, you probably remember Anton Lander. He played a fair bit with the Oilers off and on. Linus Omark, another Oilers pick. Obviously, the Oilers certainly like to draft their players from Sweden, which is no wonder why. There's a lot of great talent that comes out of Sweden. If you remember, Linus Omark was known for some of his, I guess, his shootout moves and some of his tricks that he can do with the puck. He certainly scored some beauties in his time, but he's been, after leaving Edmonton, he played in Buffalo a little while, and since then has been playing over in Europe. I'm not sure. Some of these players play for the KHL. Some of them are played in Sweden or various European leagues. The other forwards, we've got Alex Bergstrom, we've got Joakim Lindstrom, Fredrik Pedersen, Dennis Everberg, Dick Axelsson, Oscar Moeller, and Per Lindholm. So obviously some of these names, as I mentioned, if I mispronounced anything and you're from Sweden, or if you want to correct me, feel free. That's no problem. I did the best I could. But it looks like Team Sweden's going to have a pretty solid team. Obviously, they got a fair bit of NHL experience, and obviously in the Olympic Games, especially with the European countries, NHL experience isn't everything. Some of the Swedish Elite League and the KHL is pretty competitive hockey as well. So obviously, just because they're not in the NHL, that doesn't mean they're not going to be a very solid team and be able to compete. I know a lot of the predictions out there that I've been reading so far on how things might go down to the Olympics. I do see Team Sweden as being one of the favorites myself. Especially with, if you think about, like I said, the amount of talent that a team like Sweden or Russia or even the Finns will have, Czech Republic as well, playing over between the European leagues in the KHL, they probably are going to be better positioned to win the tournament, I would think, than Canada or the United States, because most of their talent is tied up in the NHL and aren't going to be able to go. So that's those are my thoughts. I fully suspect Team Sweden to be a pretty solid team. I do expect him to contend for the gold medal, and I can see Rasmus Dahlin being one of the biggest stars, not only for Team Sweden, but of the whole Olympics. I mean, if he puts on a good show like he did at the World Juniors, I can see him certainly stealing the spotlight for sure. Don't forget as well to follow us on social media. You're going to see our Twitter handle right here, so certainly check us out on Twitter. We're quite active, sharing lots of other hockey news, stories, and commenting on different things. So it's not just sharing our videos, we do have other content on there, and it's a great way for us to have more hockey conversations with our viewers. We're also on Instagram and on Facebook. All of our social media links are in the description below, so please check us out on those platforms and consider following us along on those accounts. Thanks very much for watching. We'll be catching you next time.